All right, guys, I guess just for the sake of respecting time, we'll go ahead and start. Hopefully, a few more will stumble in. But welcome to the workshop, Parking Boss Workshop. This is, honestly something Terramore's never done before. As a whole, the community has um, a, a parking structure already in place, but uh, there has been over the years, as Shaylee can attest to, really a lot of concern over parking Skyview. Obviously, it's a condominium track as opposed to the rest of the neighborhood that kind of all have driveways and things. So obvious issues there, and really the goal is to help solve parking problems in Skyview. So uh, the board several months ago, well, I guess the board several months ago agreed and voted and approved the ability for a placard to be passed around between all of your cars, which is amazing because if you have, that daughter who comes home really late from work, she doesn't have it, the permit pinned to her car, then, she has to find a spot on the street, or she has to maybe go, somewhere else. She has to get in the garage or anything like that. So the placard is basically for you to use for any of your cars. So we're going to go over that. But that was approved several months ago. And then again, just to really help solve the problem of too many cars in the street, guest passes just handed out willy-nilly with no limits, really no parking for people right next to your house. A lot of times you're walking really far. We're really trying to make that non-issue. We do have, I think, we have 162 homes. Currently, we have how many permits out?
Wow, 53, give or take.
53 permits. So there should be parking in Skyview. But I think there's a lot of misuse and management, lack of education, and enforcement all over the place. We're really having to do creative, enforcement. So really, the goal is to make it easier for you as well as your guests when they come to near your home as close as possible. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Hoping that this will go. Hello. Hoping that this will go, 30, 45 minutes this evening, but I have no. So whenever it goes, whenever everyone's happy, we'll get out of here. We're going to try and stay on topic. So, if someone has a question about different things, not about this, I'd probably say, hey, talk to me afterwards. I want to make sure we're staying true to what we're talking about here today. Um, for those of you who didn't hear, I am recording this, but the camera's facing Batul and myself, not you. And the goal is for me to be able to put together a video I can post to the Skyview residents in the next few days. So where if you couldn't be here, you can, be here, really at your own convenience. Okay. And then lastly, we're an intimate group, so we could talk about it in between, but we have a section for questions at the end. So we're going to kind of go through the nitty-gritty of what this is. I'm going to do an overview. She's going to kind of go into the depth of it, and we'll just open it up for questions at the end, so we can hopefully hash out any issues that you guys may have with it, or any problems that you foresee yourself having with it. And hopefully, get questions answered. So really the other goal of this, or the byproduct of starting this is really you guys are getting a head start on probably what's to come when we close the gates. There will be a lot of parking issues in the community as soon as we close the gates. When we close the gates, you can't get in without going through proper protocol. People who park on the street, you do like a merry-go-round and play the game, patrol, you pass by, park on the street. They will be getting really enforced like crazy. So Skyview's going to get a little head start in making sure that everyone's following the rules. There's everyone knows where to park. There's a structure for guest parking, and it's adhered to. I don't know if they're going to go to Parking Boss, down the road, as a community, but Skyview's really getting a head start in the enforcement and kind of making sure we're acting as if the gates are closed. I have like imaginary gates on both sides of Skyview that I'm kind of managing that way. Where okay, let's make sure everyone who parks here should be parking here, and they have, they know where they should park and how they should park. Okay. So that's the other thing we want to mention is just the fact that this is going to be the precursor to what everyone's going to go through here, in a year-ish. I think interest rates are going down. Maybe homes will sell faster, but when these homes sell and we get to close the gates, okay? As you guys know, we probably have about 50 homes left in the building process, so that's where we're at with that. And it's really a month and a half ago, it was looking very bleak, like, oh shoot, I don't know what's going to happen with these sales. And maybe it'll look better here shortly. We don't know. So that's kind of up in the air. Okay, so let's get into it. Brief little overview. Why Skyview? Uh, really, Skyview is a reputable company. It's one of the top, Skyview, sorry. Why Parking Boss? Parking Boss is a very reputable company. They have, over 1,400 communities that use their program. It was one of the most accessible, one of the ones easiest, and we felt like it was it kind of slipped into how we already run, and we were able to really adjust the rules of enforcement and things like that to really not change what everyone's doing. It's just more of how we manage it and how we register cars. The placard situation was a whole nightmare. Like, how do we do that with our current system? So it really helps us with that. So really, it's a great company that's already done this. They've done it for a long time, and we are just stepping into that. It also is going to help us with guest parking. Like I said, we're trying to really get people only parking in Skyview who should be parking in Skyview. So it's really going to take out that person who's taking a paper pass and parking in there, or slipping into the back alley and parking back there, or really it's going to help. There'll be a lot more structure because it's on a phone and in the cloud versus paper pass. Okay. It's going to help with resident parking. Again, we do the placards now. So I think a few of you have parking permits, so we'll go over registration, but there will be the ability for you to move that pass around from car to car to car, and people won't be playing the game. They play where I got home late, people in the garage, I have to park out there, shady. So it's going to really help with resident parking, especially on the management side, and allowing you guys to use the placards if you have a parking permit, and then we can really track with both guests and residents who is parking, how long they're staying. I can run a report, and it's so easy for me to track who is in Skyview at all times. So it's cool. I can see whose pass has expired, and I can just check out that car, see if they're still around. So it just allows us to do a lot of great things and hopefully help you with parking. Also, enforcement. It really helps enforce rules instead of having to look for, do they have the right month on there? All their registration's fine. Do they have a tag? It's really they can go by and just scan anyone parking on the street. They can scan license plates, or they can scan the decals, and it's green and red, real quick. And we can enforce and do a violation real quick. We can track violations. We can basically do everything management was doing, but a lot easier, and allow us to see trends as well. If someone's abusing the guest pass, we can see it. So if this address down here, you say, they always have 5 cars. Well, they maybe have a couple guests. Well, I can say, okay, they have had a bunch of guests because I can see it. I can see all the guests that they've had in the last month, 2 months. I can see everything. So if someone's living on the couch. I'm parking with guest passes in Skyview now because I can see everything. I'll make it easier for the tool and myself and management to really say, okay, there's something going on. This person's here. I need to know what's going on with this car and this guest, and are they really a guest? And so it's really going to help us enforce as well. Breaking that down a little bit more, guests are going to be able to quickly register their own vehicle by scanning the QR code displayed throughout the community. So these signs I have here, if you want to hold that up, the tool, we have 8 of those that'll go throughout Skyview. That's one way that your guests can come into the community, scan the QR code, it takes them right to the registration page, and she'll break that down in a minute. So those will be around the community, and those will be something that you can share as well. If you are a current permit or decal holder, you definitely need to replace that permit. So for residents, this is for you. If you haven't gotten one of these yet and you still have the old school, December 1st, those are going to expire. Those old permits on your car. So definitely, take time to schedule that appointment with the tool within the next 2 weeks, basically, so that you can get your permits. You can get your permit removed, the decal for your cars, get all registered and buttoned up with Parking Boss. Okay, that's only if you are a current permit parking permit holder. Couple requirements. You need your application, which you'll get with Batul, garage photo, and current registrations. So basically the same thing that we do for current parking permits. We're just going to need that information again, okay, for updating your parking permits. Okay. So again, if you don't have a parking permit, this does not pertain to you, but that's what we're going to need. If you did it 4 months ago, just bring it in again. Make sure we have it. Okay. Want to make sure for that appointment with Batul, we have that. Then quick overview on enforcement. Real-time monitoring to help ensure fair and consistent rule enforcement. These are the violations that'll be little stickers. They'll put them on the windshield when there is a violation. So won't be a paper. Oh, I never got that. Well, you did get it. It is kind of it's easy removal, but it sticks onto the windshield. So and they are weatherproof and will stay. Easy parking for you and guests, and then unregistered or suspicious vehicles are flagged to help keep our neighborhood secure. So it very easily flags someone who should not be parking in Skyview because they will have to be linked to a resident. And I'm going to turn it over to Batul to give a little bit more of the how-tos.
Hi. Okay, so some of you have already came and gotten their patent, some of you haven't. So make sure that you do that, and I'm just gonna show you what you will be doing once you're all activated and registered. So the first thing is, how do you register a guest vehicle? Pretty much for people that have a magnet, so this magnet that every this is specific to a home code and for your app. So when you come and register, we kind of go over all the rules, or whatever we're talking about here. The code that you get is what identifies the household. For this one, this is just your registration for the vehicle that you have from before, for example, okay? Registering a vehicle, when you scan the code, whether it's this one or the one on the sign, it's gonna ask for a code. Now, homeowners already have the code and it's at home. But if you share it with your guests and trust them, you can go ahead and do that. That's how they can register their own. So first you scan the code, and pre-authorization is if you have somebody that is you're expecting, like a mom, a friend, or whatever, you can actually give them a pass ahead. So for pre-authorization, it's the same process. So just give them the specific date and the time that.
This is what you will see when you scan that QR code. You'll go to basically this screen when they go. It's already linked to Skyview at Terramore. It's kind of the official name, Skyview at Terramore. And then they'll have to register or pre-authorize. If they're parking right now, obviously register. They're doing it, on their way, or we're doing it for them. It's pre-authorized.
So you scan the code, goes to the screen, and then after that, it'll tell you to put in the information. So the rules are pretty much the same thing, and whatever rules are already in place, regardless of FU or not, rules, they still apply. But this is just a little bit more shortened, and just letting you know that first of all, parking without a pass or inside specifically without that activation is not allowed. So when you go in, right now, the duration is for 72 hours up to 5 calendar days, and it does refresh every week. So if you've got somebody that is here for 72 hours, you can register them that way. Default is already 24 hours. Default is already 24 hours. You can always change that depending on how long you're getting here for. status, the space is open, it's just gonna say open because there is no assigned parking spaces, okay? The unit, that is your home address. So, for example, if you live in XYZ Paramore Road, your code is gonna be 10732. That's gonna be that code for your app. So that's what you enter in. And then once you enter that in, you go to the next screen.
First, you enter the unit, and if you click this, it'll actually bring up every address in Skyview. Click the address that you want to link to. This is resident.
Your address
Yes.
automatically comes.
Yeah, your address will be there, and then the passcode, you'll enter that in, which links to your address.
Once you do that, then it kind of, well, we already covered this, but once you do that, then you can go to the next. You'll be able to enter into the vehicle plate now. So you scan the code, you put in your address, you put in your code, you put in your guest vehicle plate number. And then after that, you continue, and then it should take you to the.
Sure.
It should take you to this screen. So right now, you pretty much activated a 24-hour pass, for example, and then you've given them the plate number for you assigned it. After that, you want to put in an email address. It's optional, but you want to put in an email address or a phone number. This is optional for you or for your guest. So, for example, if you have a mom visiting and you don't want her to get the text message, you can always put your phone number. This is only so that you get the message saying, hey, you have an active pass, or a reminder it's gonna expire within 30 minutes, or stuff like that.
If you don't click text or email, you're not going to get any notifications. So, and again, we're speaking as a guest right now. So if I'm coming into Terramore, scan a QR code, fill out all the information. This is optional, but we suggest to do the phone number so that I, as the guest, oh, hey, I have 2 hours left. Oh, I have 4 hours left. They'll send you texts to remind you about your parking expiration.
It'll send it to your guest, and it should send it to you as well. Okay, so once you've done that, then you register. And after you register, you should see a screen that looks like this. So it's essentially going to say active, and then all the other details, and then you just want to make sure that you are on top of it. So if you don't opt in, you don't get that, then you don't know. You opt in, and you know, and parking is supposed to be pretty easy. Name information and stuff on the paperwork, because some of you I gave, it is not a requirement. You can always do it if you wanted to put additional notes or whatever case. But ideally, the number, the vehicle plate number, and your home code are the top 3 things that you need to get to pass. Let's say you have somebody and you gave somebody a 48-hour pass. If they leave within maybe 5 hours into it, you can always cancel. So there is going to be a cancel guest parking at the bottom, and that will allow you to save your time as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure the application for that. Maybe you get really angry at one of your guests and you do not want them in Skyview parking anymore and they leave, you can cancel their parking pass. It's really not necessary to cancel parking passes. They will expire after the time is allotted. So if they're not there for the amount of time, it's extra work. It'll already expire, okay, after the time. So, but I can see maybe there's a situation where you don't want somebody able to park out in Skyview. That's how you would do it, John.
Okay, so primary thing is right now you just gotta get registered and get your code. Once you get your code, then we'll go into it as a one-on-one too. And then it's a pretty easy platform to use. You just have to make sure that you're doing it and you're on top of it. Because if you don't, then you might get citation, violation, letters, and all that stuff. Getting your home code, again, some of you got a paper, and then majority of you got the comment, a little bit ago. But anyway, you get that, and then you're pretty much good. I always recommend for your home code, you've got the Paramore phone number, patrol number, anything on your contact, add that code as a reminder too, just in case and you know what it is. Unless you're really good with numbers and you just remember it.
All right, enforcement. So what is this process? Patrol will have this basically app they will use. And for the first, believe it's for the first 2 weeks, we're actually going to have a service where they are here from like 10 to 2 in the morning for the first week or 2 weeks. They will just be in Skyview, just Skyview, just to kind of onboard the community with that and checking basically, every single car and making sure we're doing that. It's basically going to be an education process, but they're going to have their phones that they already have, and it'll have the app on it, and they'll go and they'll just basically go down streets and scan license plates. Now, if it's one of your cars with a placard on it, it'll be a resident one. We'll see it, and we'll just make sure the placard's on there. Okay, so the placard does have to be on the card. All 3 cars can't park out because you decide to put a gym in your garage or whatever, right? The goal is for you to be able to transfer to 1 car. So it'll have all 3 of your cars on there, and we'll just make sure it has the placard on there when they drive by. Okay? Really simple. It's going to show up green, active. It's going to show up, red, revoked, orange, whatever that is. And it's going to basically show them real quick the status of what's going on. That expired, yesterday. Keep in mind, these are now by time. So where your pass used to be, the whole day, some people would be here till midnight and they get up in the morning and go. It's by time. So if you have a guest that comes at noon and get the guest pass, it's going to expire at noon the next, whatever. So it will register as expired after that time frame. So they will get messages if they choose to get them. So they just need to re-register for another parking permit if they're going to stay longer. And again, these are up to 5 calendar days a week. Again, negative Nancy over here. The reason why we did 5 days is because we want to give the license for maybe someone has a caregiver that comes in Monday through Friday, watch the kids, and they get to come in, and that's fine. It's your house. You can have someone come in and watch your kids. It's not a big deal. But if someone's staying for longer than a week, we need to be aware. Does that make sense? If someone's staying for a long time, they're basically here for vacation or whatever, we can give you a special pass for that. We just need to know about that, okay? So the 5 days is there for, if someone's there for, 72 hours, they decide to stay an extra day, it's fine, just get another pass for another day. And then if it goes for another 3 days, then it's gonna be like, ooh, past the 5-day mark, and that's when you need to call Austin or Patrol, and we can issue another one for the sheer happenstance of after we ask what's going on. We're not mean, so we'll probably give it, but we just want to be involved. If someone's doing that, just in case, the off chance that someone decides to live in the community as a guest, and we need to be aware of who's doing that. And that, again, it protects parking. So some of the reasons that we would give out violations: parked without a permit, obviously. Parked in a prohibited space. If you're in the red zone, blocking your garage is a for sure one. Again, parked where you're not supposed to park. No parking zones. Parked longer than you're allowed. If you don't move your car for 72 hours, you are flagged. Okay, that's one of our policies. You can't just have a car and leave it for, unattended for 72 hours. If you go on a vacation, then you need to make arrangements, or at the very least, let management know. Okay, so there will be violations if we are not aware of what's happening.
Question.
Yes.
So, but you did your car somewhere else? Score?
I mean, if it's going to be a long one, if it's going to be, we have some people that
10 days.
Yeah, that'll be a talk with management.
Okay.
If you're going for a month, we have residents who live other parts of the world and country for a month. It's not acceptable to leave your car unattended for a month in Sky. Not acceptable. It's just not fair to your neighbors, and make arrangements. whatever that means. We have abandoned vehicles in Terramore, so that's another way. You know, I get all around the community. I get basically where someone stole a car and they abandoned them in Terramore. I don't know about Skyview if I've had that yet, but that's something that we'll do violations for, and then eventually call CHP. And then this is a big one: guest vehicle with a resident placard. So your resident placard, if you have a parking permit, that resident placard is not for guests. You can't give that to a car, your friends over, give them your placard. Does not work. It'll show up, especially they don't have a parking, they won't have a parking pass, otherwise they just register themselves. But that placard needs to be on one of the cars that you have attached to your home. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you have a parking permit, make sure the rules on that are, we have all those cars in our system and we're going to track that parking permit with those cars on them. A few key dates. Soft launch of Parking Boss is December 1st. So that's coming up. It's in 2 weeks. So if you haven't had your meeting with the lovely Batul over here to get registered and get your decals or your permits removed and your decal placard put on. What? Replaced. Then please do that. Schedule it. We will get everyone in. We'll make sure Flash come down there and help. We'll make sure everyone gets their placard. Okay. But that's soft launch. So it's a key date, December 1st. All right. And during this time, from December 1st to January 4th, Patrol will be doing basic enforcing. These violations are intended to just educate. So we're not doing any towing. There's not going to be anything heavy hitting. It will be fines put in. So this will be for the month. This will basically be people letting them know. I'll still track them. I'll know who's not getting it. I'll know who I put a violation to, and we will send them something fun. But that's basically going to be us kind of like soft doing this. We want to make sure people aren't getting, violations that turns into fine, turns into hearing, all that stuff. Stuff that normally happens in parking within Terramore. We don't want to start that. We want to give some time. So this is the month where that's going to happen. The goal is to help everyone adjust during this transition. So basically, already said that. Hard launch 2026. The first Monday of 2026 is January 5th. Okay, so this is where it's going to go live. We are going to be rolling it out, and it's all. All systems go with that. Patrol will actively issue violations based on the current parking rules. So again, our rule now is if you have the same car has 3 violations, then the next one will be killed. That's just, it's already in place. Okay, they do fall off after 6 months. So if you have one, you get another one 2 months later, and then 5 months later you get another one. You're not going to get towed. They expire, those violations, okay? And that's already the rules we have in place. So just so you're aware, make sure those violations are treated, after January 5th with care. And then all residents and guests must follow the updated parking procedures to avoid citations. So this definitely means that you want to educate your guests, okay? So if a guest gets a violation, again, it's not going to be a ticket. It won't be to your home. We know they park at your home. So we might let you know, but you need to educate your guests. So if your guests are the ones that are having trouble, you have a party, no one did a guest pass, then there's going to be a whole lot of violations going out for your residents. Okay? And again, for that first soft launch, it's going to be okay. Just educate you. You had 7 people get violations for your house for your party last night. Just so you know, they need to have guest passes. And obviously for after January 5th, you as a resident, especially if you have a parking permit, need to know the rigmarole of put that on one of your cars. The other 2 need to go in the garage, and you can rotate those cars with the placard at all times. Frequently asked questions. Do I need to do this for all of the guests, even if I have a party? You think? Yes. Everyone needs a parking pass. Okay. So again, just educate them. Send them a little screenshot of that, send them the, your passcode. If you hand out that passcode, it's gonna be out there, they can use it, okay? So this is what's currently in place for all Terramore, right? You have to add them in to the Dwelling Live app as a guest. It basically gets them right through the guest lane real fast. If they're registered as a guest into your residence, then they can go to the guest lane. They'll say, hey, I'm on this so-and-so's guest list. Boom, they'll check their ID, let them through. If not, they're gonna have to call the resident and let them in. That's still in place for Skyview. It's not leaving. They're not just gonna give Skyview guests a free pass. But your guest management is gonna go now a step further with the parking. They're not gonna give them a paper permit anymore at the guest. They'll make sure they're for Skyview, they're here for you and you want them there, and then they'll register with the parking when they get there. Next, do guests still need to check in at the gatehouse? It's kind of the same thing. Yes, they do. Unless they come during the day, I guess. If the gates are open, then they don't have to. But they still need a pass for the evening. Can I place my issued placard on the guest vehicle? Right.
So, for the permit that replaces Cal in place, the new placard, they are gonna have your specific decal number is gonna be with your specific vehicle. If you drive a truck and then you have a Porsche and then you have a Toyota, they're all gonna be under one thing. So that is how we know it's one number per household, but X many amount of vehicles. That's how they're gonna see you too when patrol scans it. Because they're gonna see all the groups. Now, the plate numbers are really important. So for any time that you have a new vehicle and you know how you come and get a new transponder, you wanna make sure the plate numbers are also updated at all times. Because if you don't do that and we have old information, it's not gonna carry through and I can't edit or make a change. Austin can't do that unless we know what it is specifically. So if you get a new car, you have the temp, we are gonna put in your template number in the meantime, but it will expire the same way that the transponder kind of expires because it reminds you, right, to call and get a new updated one. That's how it's gonna work.
Yeah, again, if you get a new car, that's gonna be just, you still have to come and do that work. And we have to help you out with that. Pop quiz, is a guest pass valid for? Up to 5 days. What's one pass valid for? 72 hours, right? So they can get up to 72 hours at a time and up to 5 days per calendar week. There's someone visiting for longer, if management can extend that time, we just need to be in the loop. Okay? What if I forget to register a guest vehicle?
Don't forget to, essentially. It's really important that you guys do that so that way it's not activated, okay?
It will be a violation on their car.
If you forget the passcode though, I advise contact, memos, wherever, through your fridge magnet, the paper that you get, all that stuff. If you really, really forget down the line, call us and we can help you.
What's the next one?
Oh,
What if I forget my unique passcode?
yeah.
We will give you that tonight. And if you ever want to change it, you can. And if you forget it, we can call us and we can give it back to you. Okay. What is the benefit of this program? Well,
Parking program.
what?
Parking program to make sure that.
Right. Try and keep spaces open. I guess that's how I'm looking at it. Trying to keep more spaces open. So we're not going to just let people open-ended park as all as they want. And again, it helps management with enforcing. I can track, right now we don't really track how many paper permits a house gets in the community. I have a feeling that we're going to be doing that when the gates close. We're going to be tracking how many guests come for houses, how long they stay. And again, you guys have a head start in Skyview. We can see if we have a long-term guest living there, we'll be in the loop. And I think that's the goal, is to keep parking spots open around in the community and around your home.